In the silent darkness of space, love was born where it should never exist. Princess Shira stood at the edge of the palace balcony on planet Zetherian. 1,000 stars blinked above her, cold and distant, but her heart beat warm and fast. She placed a gentle hand on her stomach. Inside, a life was growing. A secret life. She closed her eyes and whispered, "He is part of me and part of him." Far across the galaxy, Captain Raylan, a human, looked at the same stars from a hidden space station. He remembered her silver eyes, her soft voice, the way she had said his name like it mattered. They met during peace talks between Earth and Zetherian, talks that were supposed to be professional, cold, and diplomatic. But something happened. Not suddenly, but slowly, like sunlight melting snow. Shira had always been curious about humans. Unlike her people, who were strong, logical, and proud, humans were full of emotion. Weak, some said. Dangerous, others claimed. But Raylan was different. He didn't act superior. He listened. He asked questions. He made her laugh, something no one in the palace dared to do. Their friendship grew in secret meetings, short messages, stolen moments. Then, one night, under the twin moons of Zetherian, it became something more. Shira knew it was dangerous. Her father, King Ziran, ruled the galaxy's largest empire. He hated humans. To him, they were animals, smart animals maybe, but still beneath them. He only signed peace because the war had cost too much. If he found out what she had done. If he knew she carried a human's child. She shook the thought away. No one would know. She had told no one. Not her handmaids, not the guards, not even her closest advisor. But secrets are like cracks in glass. Small at first, then spreading. One day, a royal guard noticed the princess visiting the lower palace, where no royals ever went. Another noticed her sending messages through unapproved channels. A third saw her leaving the medical wing late at night. They whispered. They followed. And then one day, a spy heard her speaking softly to her stomach. "Don't worry, little one. Your father is brave, like you." The spy's eyes widened. He backed away, silent as a shadow. That night he knelt before King Ziran. "My king," he said, trembling, "the princess. She is with child, a human's child." For a moment, there was silence. No wind, no sound. Just the heavy, terrible quiet before a storm. Then the king stood. His voice was like thunder. "What did you say?" The spy repeated the words, his head low. King Ziran's face changed. Not just anger, betrayal, shame, fury. His own daughter, his blood, had allowed herself to be touched by a human, and now she carried that filth inside her. "She has betrayed her people," he growled. "Betrayed me." He called his war council. No one dared question him. His orders were clear. If the child is born human, Earth will pay. It will burn. Back in her room, Shira felt cold air run down her spine. Something had changed. The air was heavy. The guards looked at her differently. Her father had not called her in days. She touched her stomach again. The baby kicked like it sensed her fear. Then, late that night, she received a message. A secret signal only one person knew. They know. "Get out. I'll meet you at the old moon base. -RAYLA." And she didn't wait. She packed nothing but a cloak and a device with coordinates. Her heart pounded. Outside, the guards were preparing for a royal mission. She moved through the shadows. Using hidden passages she had explored as a child. At the spaceport, she saw her small ship. An old model, slow but silent. She climbed in, set the destination, and launched, just as alarms began to ring across the palace. Far away, Raylan waited. And with him, the only hope for both their worlds. The princess was now a fugitive. The king was preparing for war, and a baby not yet born had already changed everything. A king stood alone in a silent room. His daughter had broken the oldest law. And somewhere in the stars, a human laughed. King Xeron did not sit. He never did when he was angry. He stood by the window of his war chamber, looking out at the great rings of Zetherian spinning in the sky. His fists were tight, his jaw tighter. The royal council stood behind him, silent, scared. He spoke at last. My blood has been poisoned. My own daughter has chosen a human. The word human left his mouth like filth. Counselor Varek, his oldest advisor, stepped forward carefully. My king, the child is not yet born. Perhaps. Xeron turned sharply. One look from him was enough. You wish to wait? Shall I let the child grow? Let it walk into my court, half human, half royal? Never. He walked to the center of the chamber. A glowing table lit up with a map of the galaxy. His finger pointed at Earth. That world is a disease. And now, that disease grows inside my family. He slammed his fist down. If the child is born human, we will erase Earth. Far away, in the dark shadows of space, a stolen ship flew low over a frozen moon. Inside, the princess wept, not for herself, but for the child in her arms. Shira held her newborn close. A tiny, soft-skinned boy, wrapped in warm cloth. He slept peacefully, unaware of the chaos his birth had started. Raylan sat beside her, checking the scanners. We're safe, for now. But Zetherian ships are searching nearby systems. Shira nodded, eyes full of worry. He looks human. Raylan looked at his son. Pale skin, 10 fingers. Brown eyes like his. No glowing marks. No alien features. He is human, Raylan said softly. And still, he is yours too. Shira looked away. That is what makes it worse. My father will see him as a threat. Suddenly, the ship's warning lights blinked out an incoming transmission, encrypted. From ZYTHE Ryan. They listened in silence. It was a royal message. Broadcast across the empire. The princess has given birth to a human child. She is now an enemy of the crown. Any who protect her will share her fate. The child must be captured or destroyed. Earth is under judgment. Raylan froze. He's going to start a war, Shira whispered. No, he's going to finish one. Back on Zetherian, deep underground, the forges of war came alive. Massive ships began construction. War drones were activated after years of sleep. Giant engines roared as armies began to gather. This was no small punishment. This was a galaxy-level attack, but Xeron wanted more than just revenge. He wanted a message written in fire. The humans believed we wanted peace, he said to his generals. Let us remind them what Zetherian peace looks like. One general stepped forward. Shall we give them time to surrender the child? Xeron gave a cold smile. No, let them watch as we burn their cities one by one. Let the child hear the screams of Earth. Meanwhile, in a hidden moon base, a young mother faced an impossible choice. Shira sat beside her son, still too weak to walk. Raylan brought food and news, none of it good. The galaxy's turning against us. Zetherian controls trade routes, alliances, everything. Even Earth leaders are scared. They don't believe we can win this war. Shira looked at her baby. His hand wrapped around her finger, small but strong. We cannot run forever, she said. Raylan leaned closer. Then we fight? Shira shook her head. We reveal the truth. If the galaxy sees the child, not as a threat, but as hope, maybe, just maybe, we can change something. Raylan nodded, unsure, but willing. Then we start with Earth. As the stars moved above, and death gathered. In space, one child, not even old enough to speak, became the key to the future of two worlds. But the king would not stop. Not until every trace of human blood was erased from his empire. War had begun. Not just between planets, but between a father and a daughter, between old hatred and new life. It started with silence. No satellites, no signals, no stars. Above Earth, in the upper orbit, satellites flickered and died, one by one. No explosions, no warnings. Just blackout. At NASA Space Command, alarms rang. We've lost 5 systems in under 10 seconds, a technician shouted. Something is in orbit, something big. No one said the word invasion. Not yet, but everyone felt it. Aboard the Zitherian flagship, war drums beat in cold, metallic rhythm. King Xeron stood at the front of the command deck. His armor was ancient, worn only once before, during the last Great War. It shimmered with silver and black, the color of judgment. Position the cannon above their oceans, he ordered. Show them we can boil their planet before breakfast. The fleet moved like a shadow across the solar system, not fast. Not trying to hide. It wanted to be seen. They will surrender the child, Xeron said, or they will drown in fire. On Earth, panic spread like wildfire. News broke across every screen. Alien fleet approaching Earth orbit. Zetherian declares war. Earth demands answers. But Earth's leaders had no answers. No one knew where the princess was. No one had seen the child. Then a signal came, not from the sky, but from a forgotten moon base. A face appeared on secret Earth channels. Captain Raylan, listen to me. I know you're scared, but the child, he's not a threat. He's a miracle. Behind him, Princess Shira held the baby. She looked tired, broken, brave. My father has declared war because I gave birth to something he fears. Not a weapon, not a monster, but a bridge between 2 worlds. Raylan continued, help us, don't run. Don't hide this child. Protect him, because if he dies, peace dies with him. The transmission ended. For a moment, Earth was silent again. But this time, not from fear, from choice. Inside the war room at United Earth Command, voices clashed like thunder. We should give the child up. We don't negotiate with tyrants. What if the child really is a threat? President Mira leaned forward, her face hard as stone. We don't hand over children to warmongers, not even alien ones. She stood up. Send a message back. Earth will protect the child. Tell the Zitherian king, if he wants him, he'll have to come through us. Meanwhile, the child named Hope began to change. He didn't cry like normal babies. He didn't sleep much either. But when he touched broken machines, they worked. When he looked at a person in pain, they felt calm, Raylan noticed. First, Shira, I think he's doing something. Something I don't understand. Shira watched her son place his tiny hand on a cracked data tablet. It flickered, then glowed bright blue. He's only days old, she whispered. What will he become? Back on the fleet, King Xeron saw Earth's answer. And he smiled. Good, he said. Let them be proud. Let them be brave. It will make their fall more poetic. He turned to his war officer. Activate the sun cannon. I want their skies to bleed. Back on Earth, the stars began to dim. Not because of nightfall, but because something enormous had moved between Earth and its sun. And in that growing shadow came the future. Asterisk, the sky above Earth turned orange. Not from sunset, but from war. A beam of fire cut across the upper atmosphere. It didn't hit cities, not yet. It hit the ocean, boiling a hole 10 miles wide, a warning shot. A taste of what was coming. People watched from rooftops, fields, and bunkers. They didn't understand what they were seeing, but Princess Shira did. She held her child tighter and whispered, "He's showing mercy. That means he wants us to suffer longer." Raylan looked out the small port window of their ship. His jaw tightened. We can't stay here anymore. Inside Earth's war bunker, chaos spread like wildfire. Satellite grid is collapsing. The Zitherian fleet is jamming all long-range comms. We're blind out there. President Mira stood at the center of the war table. Her face pale, voice steady. Get the child off planet. Now. Where to? asked a General Dot. She looked at the glowing hologram of the galaxy. Only one place came to mind: dangerous, abandoned, forgotten. The Shadow Belt. Send them there. An old transport ship, dusty and half-broken, launched from an underground port. Inside were only 4 people: Princess Shira, tired but determined Captain Raylan, former soldier, now protector Baby Hope. Asleep but glowing faintly Unit 7, a strange old AI that once served the Zitherian Empire. The ship jumped to hyperspace, barely escaping Earth's orbit before a blast shook the planet's upper skies. They were now alone in space. Raylan stared at the stars as they blurred past. "The Shadow Belt is suicide," he said. "That's why they won't look for us there," Shira replied. Behind them, Unit 7 buzzed and clicked. "Entering Forbidden Zone. Caution, ancient relics detected. Navigation unreliable." Raylan frowned. "Relics?" The AI's eyes glowed blue. "Long ago, this area belonged to the old Zitherian dynasty. Weapons, secrets, things that are left forgotten." Raylan turned to Shira. "You were a princess. What's out there?" She didn't answer, not because she didn't know, but because she did. Suddenly, alarms rang out. 3 small ships appeared behind them. Zitherian bounty hunters. Mercenaries paid in royal blood. Raylan pulled the controls hard. The ship swerved into an asteroid field. "Hold on," he shouted. Lasers ripped through space. Asteroids exploded around them. Raylan flew between spinning rocks and ice clouds, barely dodging fire. "If we get hit with a tracker," he yelled, "they'll find Earth too." Shira clutched Hope close and prayed, but the child opened his eyes, glowing gold, and reached toward the ship's control panel. Suddenly, the engines pulsed with strange light. The ship moved faster, sharper, smoother, almost like it was alive. Unit -7's voice trembled. "Something I shouldn't do. This is not normal." The child is interfacing with the core. Raylan looked back. "He's flying the ship?" Shira's eyes widened. "He doesn't even know how to walk yet." But the ship soared forward like a ghost, slipping through asteroid dust and wreckage. The bounty ships couldn't follow. Within seconds, silence. They were alone again. Raylan slowed the ship and turned to Shira. "What is he?" Shira didn't answer. She looked down at her son, no longer just a baby. Something else had awakened inside him, something ancient. Back on the Zitherian flagship, King Xeron watched a black screen. His bounty ships, destroyed. He said nothing, but his voice, when it came, was like death. "So, the child has powers." He turned to his war commander. "Send the assassin." "Which one, my king?" "The one who never fails." Somewhere, deep in space, a figure opened its eyes. It had no face, no name, only one command. "Find the child. End the bloodline. Silence the future." The child opened his eyes, and every light in the ship turned blue. No buttons were pressed, no wires were touched. But the ship responded, like it knew him. Raylan stood frozen at the controls. "Shira, he's doing it again." "Princes." Shira held Baby Hope close, but this time she wasn't scared. She was in awe. "It's not just technology," she whispered. "He's speaking to the ship with his mind." Unit 7, the eye from the old empire, scanned the child silently. Then it said something unexpected. "Royal pattern detected. Genetic code incomplete, but recognizable. He carries the ancient spark." Raylan blinked. "What's that supposed to mean?" "The last kings of Zitherian were not born. They were engineered. Their minds could control machines. Their voices could move armies. Your child is one of them. But with human blood." Shira stared at her son. "That's impossible. Those powers were lost centuries ago." "Then why," Raylan asked slowly, "does our son have them?" Meanwhile, deep in space, something was coming. A Zetherian assassin ship, blacker than the void, moved through the asteroid field without making a sound. Inside sat a creature known only as VAEL. No face. No name, no mercy. Born in a lab, trained to end bloodlines. Loyal only to the crown, Vale received one message. Find the child. Kill the bloodline. Burn the memory. The assassin smiled in the dark. Back on the ship, hope began to change. Not physically, not yet. But in strange ways he no longer cried when hungry. He made water boil just by touching a cold glass. He hummed sounds that made broken tech work again. Raylan and Shira watched in silence as their son floated a small object in the air. Without touching it, it spun slowly. Glowing gold. This isn't normal, Raylan said. This is something else, Shira nodded. This is why my father is afraid. But not all powers are gifts. Some are warnings. That night, while resting in the dark ship cabin, hope began to glow again. This time, bright, blinding. Shira rushed to him. Hope? He was floating. Eyes wide open, glowing bright white. His body rose into the air. Sparks danced around him. Raylan grabbed a tool, unsure what to do. But then, Hope spoke. His voice was not that of a child. It echoed like a chorus of ancient kings. They are coming. They will break the stars. But I will break their name. Then he collapsed. Xira held him close. His body was warm, breathing, but his eyes had seen something far ahead. Raylan whispered, he's dreaming of the future. Unit 7. Confirmed. His mind is evolving faster than his body. He may be the first of something new. Shira shook her head. No, he is not the first. He is the last hope. That's why I named him so. Suddenly, a silent alarm blared. An unknown ship had entered their hidden coordinates. Unit 7's voice was shaking. Signature match, 98% probability. Zetherian assassin class. Codename, Vale. Mission, termination of royal defectors. Raylan jumped to the pilot seat. How did they find us? Shira looked at her child, still asleep. They're not tracking us. They're tracking him. Far outside, the assassin ship uncloaked. It fired a silent beam. Not to destroy, but to disable. Hope's ship shook violently. Systems died one by one. Unit-7 struggled. Critical failure. Weapons offline. Engines disabled. Raylan yelled. Brace for boarding. He looked at Shira. You hide. I'll hold them off. Shira refused. No, we protect him. Together. Raylan handed her a small hidden pod. If I fall, you run. Don't argue. She took it, her heart breaking. As the airlock doors creaked open. Hope opened his eyes again. No fear. No crying, only light. And somewhere inside him, something woke up, something ancient. Something alien, something powerful. The door opened. But it wasn't the assassin who stepped into the light. It was the child, barefoot, barely walking, yet glowing like a star in human shape. Hope stood in front of the assassin, not crying, not afraid, just watching. The assassin Vale paused. He had ended kings, burned rebels, silenced galaxies. But this was not something he had seen before. Raylan aimed his weapon. Shira reached for her son. Hope, come back. But the child raised his small hand, and the air changed. The ship's metal groaned. Lights flickered. For one brief moment, time slowed. Vale stepped forward, but he was too late. Hope touched the floor, and the ship exploded with light. Hours later, Earth picked up the signal. Not from space, not from radio, not from humans. But from something ancient, something royal, something impossible. It was Hope's voice. Inside the Earth Council room, leaders sat in silence as the message played. My name is Hope. I am the son of 2 worlds. My blood is Zetherian. My soul is human. His voice was young, but deep, as if echoing through time. I have seen what is coming. My grandfather, King Xeron, believes he must destroy what he does not understand. But I am not a weapon. I am not a mistake. I am a message. He paused. To all who listen, stop running. You are not powerless. You are not alone. The message ended. No one spoke. But something had changed. Hope had done what governments couldn't. He had given the galaxy a reason to believe. Across distant systems, people watched, alien worlds, human colonies, even Zetherian rebels hidden in asteroid belts. The child's voice reached them all, and slowly, loyalty began to break. Some Zetherian soldiers started questioning their orders. Some refused to fire on unarmed ships. Some began to whisper a dangerous word: hope. Back on the broken ship, Shira sat beside Raylan. He was injured, but alive. Vale was gone. Not dead. Not captured. Just gone. Why didn't he kill us? Raylan asked. Xira looked at Hope, who now slept peacefully in her lap. Because he saw something that changed him. Raylan nodded slowly. He saw the future. But not everyone was moved. On the throne world of Zetherian, King Xeron watched the message in silence. He didn't speak for a full minute. Then he turned, eyes blazing. Enough, he pointed toward the war table. Prepare the final weapon. But my king, the general hesitated. Earth has spoken. The child has spoken. Now, I will speak. He activated a device only the king could use. A code that would unlock Zetherian's deadliest creation. I will speak in flame. Back on Earth, sensors began to scream. A new object had entered the solar system. Not a ship. Not a fleet. A weapon. Large as a moon. Silent. And aimed at Earth's sun. Its name: Eclipse. It had one purpose: block the sun. Kill the planet slowly, not with fire, but with cold. Shira stared at the scanner. Her heart sank. He's not trying to kill us fast, she whispered. He's trying to watch us die. Raylan looked at Hope. Then it's time, he said. We stop hiding, we fight. Shira nodded. Not with guns, with truth, with light. Hope opened his eyes one last time that night, and this time he smiled, because he knew what he had to do next. He was born in silence, raised in shadows, hunted across stars. Now, the child named Hope stood at the center of the galaxy's final war. Not with an army, not with a weapon, but with something far more dangerous: truth. The sun above Earth. Dimmed, not from eclipse, but from fear. Zetherian's doomsday weapon, Eclipse, had arrived. A living machine the size of a moon. Its surface black, its heart cold, its purpose: to block sunlight, to freeze oceans, to watch a planet slowly die. And deep within the throne room of Zetherian, King Xeron smiled. Let them beg, he said. Let them suffer under their own weakness. Then, let them remember my name. But in the quiet orbit of Earth, aboard a hidden ship, a child was waking up. His eyes were no longer just human. They glowed like twin stars. And when he stepped forward, metal bent gently beneath his feet, not from weight, but from presence. Hope was no longer just a baby. He was a signal, a bridge, a living message written in human and alien blood. Shira and Raylan stood beside him. His mother, once a princess. His father, once a soldier. Now both witnesses to something the universe had never seen before. Are you ready? Shira asked. Hope looked at them, not with fear, not with doubt, but with something that looked very much like peace. He nodded. Let's go, Raylan whispered. The child stepped into a pod made for one. Not to fight, but to deliver a message. As it launched into space, toward Eclipse, Earth held its breath. Across human colonies and Zetherian systems, people watched. They were expecting a final attack, but what they saw was a child floating toward Death. Alone. Inside Eclipse. Alarms screamed. The machine's defense grid locked onto the pod. Weapons charged, but before they could fire, the child raised one hand, and the weapon systems obeyed. Back in Zetherian's war chamber, King Xeron watched in disbelief. "No," he growled. "He cannot control it. He's just a..." The screen turned white, then gold, then calm. The child's voice echoed through every Zetherian warship, every Earth base, every silent moon. "I was born from fear, but I choose peace. I was hunted by blood, but I carry both." He stood now in the heart of Eclipse, his hands on the core. "I am not just the son of a princess, or a human captain. I am the future they feared, and the hope they never saw coming." And then, light, not fire, not war. But warm golden light spread across the black surface of Eclipse. Its weapons melted into dust. Its engines stopped. Its shadow vanished from Earth's sun. The day returned. Zetherian. Something cracked, not a building, but a throne. King Xeron stood still, eyes wide. He had ruled with fear. He had burned worlds. But he had lost to a child who never raised a weapon. His generals turned away. His people whispered, "Long live the child, long live hope." Later, Earth and Zetherian signed a new treaty, not out of fear, but respect. No borders, no weapons, only one rule: protect the child, protect the peace. Hope never became a king. He became something greater, a symbol, not just to aliens, not just to humans, but to anyone who was ever told they didn't belong. Final shot. Hope stands between two planets, one glowing blue, one silver. He closes his eyes, and light surrounds him. Not the light of war, but the light of two worlds becoming one.